Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another PI Pop-In. That stands for Personal Injury Pop-In with attorney Joy Fairell and attorney Kimberly Hall. Today, we're going to be talking about something that has just struck the modern generation like above everything. We're going to be talking about personal injury as it relates to Uber and Lyft. And I say it struck our generation because what I'm hearing is that these younger people don't even drive. Like, they're not even learning how to drive. They're so dependent on Ubers and Lyfts. And obviously for those who live outside of Atlanta, who don't need cars in their city, they Uber a lot. So today we're going to be talking about how personal injury cases are affected if you're injured in a Uber or a Lyft ride, or be the driver of an Uber or a Lyft, and what things you should keep in mind in those considerations. Before we get started, a brief introduction of myself, because we're giving you all this free information, you have to take a second and learn who we are. My name is attorney Joy Fairell. I'm the managing partner at Fairell Associates, where our practice area is personal injury and family law. On Mondays, we do our family law videos, so make sure you follow our Facebook page and tune in at 2 p.m. to get the questions and answers about our family law cases. That's divorce, custody, and child support and all that. On Thursdays, you can catch our personal injury videos. These the PI Pop-In, and our personal injury cases are primarily auto accident cases and slip and fall cases. So if you have any of those types of cases that you ever need representation on, make sure you give us a call or go to our website to find out a ton of information that we have out there for you, information and resources for you. I'm going to let Attorney Hall introduce herself. Okay, there we go. There she is.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. I think that's kind of my intro now, Joy, because I think I say that like every time we get on
here. We never know what time.
Right. I don't know what time you guys are watching, and I don't want you to feel, like you're not included and loved, at whatever point you are watching our video. So I am attorney Kimberly Hall. I am the personal injury attorney, managing attorney here at Fairell Associates. And this is my first video in my new office. So welcome.
Mine too.
You see Joy didn't shout me out though. You see how she be doing me? I tried to move my little flower. Let me move my flower. She turned my video on before.
This is my first time in the new office.
I can move my pretty flower here.
Yes, put it back there. Y'all see my cute flowers back there.
Y'all see me? Look, oh, hold on. She leaning a little bit. She need a little love.
Okay. It's all good. With it. It's all good. She needs to see a chiropractor.
I know. I'm trying to get a green thumb. I'm working on that. That's one of my projects.
Oh, is that real?
Yes.
Oh, girl, I thought she was plastic.
That's real.
Okay, girl, you looking allergic to them now.
I know. That's the only reason I got it. Y'all don't understand. Joy allergic to everything. You can't buy her no flowers, no perfume, no candle. Like, she another level. So, here at Fairell Associates, I do personal injury. I've been doing it 14 years, over a decade as a lawyer. I love what I do. I love my clients. I love my team. And so, as attorney Fairell said, we have a lot of videos that are up. So, don't wait to, until an accident happens, while you're just skimming and scrolling through Facebook, on Instagram, check us out. Go ahead and get the knowledge. Go ahead and understand what you should do before an accident happens, right? So in the event that it does happen, you're already prepared. And so with that, I'm ready to get into the information today, Attorney Fairell.
Right, let's do it. So personal injury, Uber Lyft. So this is still a developing area of law.
Yes.
It's just, and that's what lawyers do, and that's why they call it the practice of law, because the laws are continuously changing through case law, and juries and stuff going on appeal and all that kind of stuff. So this is an ongoing developing area of law that's relatively new, but we're seeing more and more of these cases like all the time.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the considerations today. So just, Kim, when people decide, we're going to talk about passengers, and then we're going to talk about drivers.
Okay.
So passengers, what are some considerations they should have before they even decide they're going to use a Lyft for a service? or Uber?
Yes. So, you should definitely safety, right? Just safety concerns. And I know it sounds so ridiculous, but the reason when you get on those apps, why they have the driver's face, they have the kind of vehicle, and they have the tag, all of that is for a reason. And you have to absolutely make sure you're one getting into the right vehicle. I've been places and people have tried to get into my vehicle, thinking that it was their Uber or their Lyft. So you have to definitely make sure
They must
you are
have ordered
absolutely checking right.
they must have ordered Uber Black, trying to get in your car.
I knew she was about to say that. I knew she was about to
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, because
Whatever the highest level is, that's what joy is.
yeah, because
What's
I would know
past
you
Uber
weren't my
Black? Uber
Uber.
Black Black. That's
Yeah, because I get the Uber share.
I know. And with the Uber share, right? I mean, that to your point, like, I mean, I'm not big on the Uber shares, right? You don't, know some who you're getting in the vehicle with. That's just me because you don't have any control about who they are picking up first. There are instances on that Uber share that you actually are in the vehicle at the same time with the other passenger. And I mean, I guess, being from Atlanta, right? I guess if you're from New York or something, they do that, right? They catch taxis and cabs and all that kind of together. Over here, you don't really do that.
I was just
So,
saying I don't do Uber at all, but yeah.
really, why? You
Girl,
don't
because
Uber anywhere?
no, because a few times I've done it, like the car has smells and like fragrances, and I've just had like sinus attacks, and because they try to make it smell good or try to get the smell from the previous person, and they do too much,
Right.
and I just can't, so I don't.
It's a lot. Okay. I thought that for another reason. All right, I'll give that one to you.
Yeah,
on
that's a
the
good
on the
reason.
Uber
Am I
shares.
breaking up on your end? Because you're stuttering out on my end. Am I choppy?
Um, no, I'm choppy on your end.
A little bit, but I don't know what the people see. So bear with us, y'all. With this 2021 and everything got to be
Um,
wonderful. Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
safety first, obviously, and also, Kim, when people travel with children, should they bring their own car seats to the Uber, or like, can they ride in the Uber without a car seat? Do you know?
So legally, the Uber driver or Lyft driver, if you do not have a car seat for your child, they are not allowed to let you in the vehicle. They are not responsible to have a car seat, or anything for your children. So you are absolutely 100% responsible for that.
So if they let you in, are they negligent by letting you ride
Yes.
without? Okay.
Yes. Hmm.
Makes sense. All right. So, all right. If you're a passenger, accident happens. Now what?
Right. So two scenarios here. If you are a passenger and with your Uber or Lyft driver and another driver causes that accident, Uber or Lyft is not directly responsible to you automatically because you were in an Uber or a Lyft, right? So in those situations, you need to absolutely get the information of the other driver that caused the accident, right? You need to do that before the police come. We've talked about this on another video. Have them go ahead and open up a claim, see if you're able to go ahead and speak to that insurance. Not speak to them, but to get to information of the adjuster, the claim number, the telephone number, the name of the other driver that caused the accident, right? You want to make sure that you get that information. The second thing that you want to do after that is to make sure you contact Uber or Lyft and say, hey, I was in this vehicle on this trip or whatever the information is in the app that you have, and say, hey, this happened and I was involved in this accident, right? And you want to make sure you do that immediately. We can't take for granted that that driver is going to, contact Uber and Lyft and give them all these details. And there is no guarantee that Uber or Lyft will reach out to you. And so you don't want it to be 5 or 6 days down the line, and now you're contacting Uber saying, hey, I was involved in this, accident, let them go ahead and open up a claim and do an investigation. Although they're not initially responsible just based on the circumstances, on the front end of just what we're talking about in this situation, but you still want a claim to be open and investigation to be pending, right? What if that other driver doesn't have any insurance? There are a lot of things that can, unfold from that. So if you're a passenger, these are the rules. Get the information of the other driver that caused the accident. Go ahead and see if you can get them to open up a claim, get that claim number and that adjuster's information. Then you go and you call Uber or Lyft and go ahead and tell them what happened. Okay? Everything else is the same that we've gone over. Take pictures of the vehicle, of the Uber that you were in, of the other driver's vehicle as well, right? Document anything that needs to be documented. If there are witnesses there, get their first name, last name, telephone number, email address. Everything else is the same. The only steps that you're adding in is that it's going to be important that you contact Uber and Lyft, okay, to let them know what happened.
Right. So what about the scenario where the Uber driver is at fault for the accident?
Okay, so in the scenario that the Uber driver is at fault, it automatically is going to kick to Uber or Lyft. In those situations. So you would do the same thing, right? You would still contact Uber or Lyft while you're in the vehicle, and say, hey, I'm driving in whatever this car is. I was headed XYZ place and this accident happened. I need to open up a claim. Again, you don't want to get into any injuries or anything of any sort. Or anything like that. Because again, that doesn't change. We don't discuss injuries, right? We're not trying to give our case on the front end, but you do just want to let them know that you've been in an accident, and that this is, what has happened. Go ahead and put the facts out there. Everything else is the same. Take pictures of the vehicle. If there are any witnesses out there, get their first, last name, telephone number, and email address.
Right. Okay. So do Uber drivers and Lyft drivers have to carry a specific policy in order to drive for Lyft or Uber?
So no, that's actually a really good question. No, they do not. What becomes tricky with the insurance is that a lot of people don't want to tell their insurance that they are driving for Uber or Lyft because it makes their insurance go up. And it's really not that much, but it does make the insurance go up. And so they do not tell them. But what ends up happening is if the accident happens and you have some additional injuries or the other driver's insurance doesn't fully cover it, now you're going to have an issue because you don't have your own insurance to cover the policy. So those situations happen like you may have had your app on, but you didn't have a passenger in your vehicle, right? And an accident happens. Uber and Lyft they're not going to be responsible for the accident happening, right? If that driver hits you and you go over their limits or they didn't have any insurance and it comes back that you had that app on because you're driving around waiting, for a call or whatever, because you're technically working, right, for Uber or Lyft at that time. When that happens and you don't have rideshare, your car insurance is not responsible. They don't have to pay anything out, right? Because you are technically on the clock for somebody else. But Uber and Lyft don't define you being on the clock for them until you have a passenger in your car or you are actually headed to go pick a passenger up or have just dropped a passenger off.
Okay, so just so I'm clear here, you're saying that if someone's going to drive for Uber or Lyft, they need to report to their insurance company that that's what they're doing, because in the event they didn't, their regular insurance, our Allstate, State Farm, whatever, they find out we were driving, working for someone else during the time of the incident. Are you saying that our primary insurance will give some kickback about providing coverage because of that?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be really
we have seen it. We've seen it happen, right? So of course, if you're driving around, so like situation A, right? The Uber or the Lyft driver is driving around. and you guys, I made some notes, so that's why I'm looking to the side, right? So the Uber and Lyft driver, they're driving around, right, with the app off. If an accident happened, the only insurance that is in play, right, is your normal insurance and the other driver's insurance. Those are only two in play. So just like any other normal accident, right? But the other thing that can happen is that if the Uber or Lyft driver, if the app is activated, but they haven't been paired with a rider yet, right? Which is to say, hey, Kimberly, has hit this button and they're headed to me. They're driving around, it's activated. The statute says that, hey, the rideshare insurance can be activated in that scenario, right? It's like, hey, this insurance may be available to you, considering, right? However, if the Uber or Lyft driver has been connected to a passenger, right? Of course, from the pickup to the drop off, we do know that the Uber Lyft insurance here is in play. There is no question there.
So does Uber and Lyft provide a policy for their drivers, like as a secondary policy they have in place?
Yes. So Uber and Lyft, they carry their own policies for their drivers. But the only time that is activated,
Who pays for that? Does that come out of your, like, is that just part of them doing business? Hey, we got insurance and it covers like every driver we put in our program? Or is it something that's specific to your vehicle and this driver, and this is a rideshare rider that you added to your policy that's required?
Okay, so no. So actually, it's actually two different scenarios when it comes to Uber and Lyft, because now what Uber and Lyft have, like, let's say I don't have a car at all, but I want to drive for Uber and Lyft, then I can go, they'll give me a car, right? It's like a payment every week or whatever, this, that, and the third, right? And so they have coverage for that vehicle, right? They're driving for Uber and Lyft, but that vehicle itself has coverage. But if I have my own vehicle and I'm driving for Uber or Lyft, they have a separate policy that's kind of an umbrella, if you will, for anybody driving for Uber or Lyft in their own vehicles. So it's two different policies, that can be in place, because before they were kind of dealing like what I call like another third party. If you have a claim against Uber or Lyft, but now you can get a claim where the driver was driving for Uber or Lyft and the policy is Allstate or the policy is Progressive. Like they now have their own personal policies on the individual vehicles. It's not one umbrella, right? On the policy end when it comes to the insurance.
Okay, let me ask you. So
it can get, those Uber Lyft cases, like you have to really, and this is, these are to my people that are watching, right? You got to be careful, which is why we do these knowledge-based videos, right? We want you to understand and be clear. You want to go to a lawyer, right? And that lawyer I'm talking about is me. You want to come to me, right? Because you want a lawyer that understands the divisions and the breakdowns of insurance, right? And so Attorney Fairell is asking all these questions because there are a lot of moving parts. And so you don't want to just be going to a lawyer because they do personal injury. And that ain't a rag on any other lawyer. It's just like, hey, right, we all have things that we are good at. We all have things that, we do well. And, in doing things well, that means you do them all the time, right? So you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you know where to go to get the information, you know how to track it down. And that kind of stuff is important because as a lawyer, you have to know which insurances come into play at what part, depending on how the accident happened. What we call like first of right, who's first in line to actually pay on the claim. If you got multiple people involved in the accident, there can be a lot of moving parts, people. So it's so important, to understand what should be going on and having a lawyer that understands also what is going on. And so that's why it's important on the onset for you to get all that information that you can and take your pictures and do everything that you're supposed to do, right? To assist us to help you get the best results for your case.
Let me ask you this. Does our UN policy that everyone now has, because we told you on numerous occasions to have a UN policy on your own personal car insurance, can your UN policy kick in this scenario in the event the other driver or the Uber driver or whatever does not have enough coverage to satisfy your injuries? Is this a UN step-in situation?
Yes, if they know that you are Uber or Lyft driver.
What if you're the passenger? Can my UM?
Yes, it can, but it probably will not. It probably will not because of the limits that Uber and Lyft carry. But
Okay.
yes, you can do your own UM
So based on
coverage.
their limits, you probably don't need your UM, is what you're saying.
Right. And let me say this. I mean, this is probably more of a legal technicality here, but it can get a little tricky when it comes to those UM policies because technically your policy follows you as a person, not your car. So anytime that you're in an accident, like, just to the point of what you are saying, right, and you're actually a passenger in a vehicle, technically it does not just kick to the car that you're in. It kicks to your own personal policy first. Then if you don't have it or it maxes you out, then you can go into the car that you were in. And I know people get really upset about that. So just because you are a passenger in a Uber or Lyft, again, doesn't just automatically make them responsible for your injuries.
That's everything.
I lost. Oh, okay, there you go. I lost all sound. What did you say?
Oh, I wasn't saying anything. I was just listening, absorbing all this knowledge.
Oh, okay.
I was, I'm learning here too, guys. Like, Attorney Hall, like she said, she's our managing attorney of the personal injury. It's her job to be on top of all this stuff. So great information. I think we covered everything. Is there anything else we need to let them know about Uber and Lyft? What we know in conclusion is if you're a passenger and you get in an accident that's caused by another car, make sure you get the other car's information, notify Uber that you were in the accident on that particular ride. Do what we've always told you to do, which is collect pictures, get information from potential witnesses, phone, email, all that stuff. And then if you're a driver of a Uber, you need to make sure you actually tell your actual insurance company that you're driving for Uber to make sure that you're protected. And your UM coverage will protect you in that scenario as well. And I think that's it, right?
Yes. So absolutely don't lie to your insurance company about that ride share stuff. Like, just be honest with them. It's only a few more dollars, right? And if something happens and you don't have that insurance, you're gonna feel terrible on the back end about that. So don't lie to the insurance people. Just be honest. Pay them extra $3 or $5. It'll be worth it in the event that something happens.
Absolutely, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in as always. We really appreciate it. If you are so happen to be in the unfortunate scenario of being in an accident or being in an Uber at any accident, but including Uber or Lyft, make sure you give us a call and allow us to be able to serve you and help you get through this difficult time. Our phone number is 678-973-2803. We will see you next week, but in the meantime, feel free to peruse all of our different videos. If you haven't had a chance to watch all of them, you will learn something. And the thing about personal injury, we're telling you everything that you need to have in place in the event you're ever in an accident. We don't know when accidents are going to happen. So make sure you're listening to those previous videos. Make sure you're adding things to your policy and taking all those tips that we're giving you so that if it ever happens, you're going to be covered at 100%.
Absolutely.
All right. Y'all be blessed. See y'all in a week. See you later, Kim. Bye.